Hey everyone, it's Kirsten here, and I'm here to talk about what I read in February. So in total, I read 11 books in February. I read 2 contemporary, 4 thrillers, 1 dystopian, 3 fantasies, and 1 horror. So nice range of books there. And I read 4 5-star books, 3 4-star books, 3 3-star books, and 1 1-star book. So definitely a mixed bag all around. Month I first read Addicted to You by Krista and Becca Ritchie. This is a contemporary romance book. It is a friends to lover book. It is about this sex addict and this alcoholic who are fake dating. And everybody in their family thinks they're dating, but it's just a cover up so they can live the life that they want to live without having them interrupted by their family. They both come from very rich families. It's a very like Gossip Girl vibe type situation, and I actually really like the story. There is actually 10 books in the series. It's actually 2 series that are like interwoven together. So there's a recommended reading order in it. So I do plan on reading the rest of them because this was a 5-star book. I really love the characters and I can't wait to see where it's going. After that, I picked up a thriller. I picked up Her Last Moon by John Marr. I've read several thrillers by John Marr's. One of my favorite thrillers of all time is by him. But honestly, this one, I can't even remember what it's about. Like, there's nothing in particular that sticks out for me. I rated it 3 stars, so that's a very like average thriller for me, and I don't know write a review on it, so I literally have no memory of what this book's about. And he like has thrillers that have like very interesting and unique concepts, so I don't know why I don't remember this one, but I don't. And then next I picked up a dystopian like sci-fi book. I picked up The Scorch Trials. This is the 2nd book in the Maze Runner series, and this is by James Dashner. If you don't know, the Maze Runner series is a young adult series about these group of kids who wake up in a maze and you just try to figure out why they're there. And this goes more into the outside world, outside of the maze, and there you find out there's a disease that they are trying to cure, and that's kind of what these kids are for. So you get to learn a little bit about that, and I already have the death cure. Well, I actually read these a long time ago, but for some reason I think I saw it in a video that someone was talking about these books, and I wanted to reread them, so I am. Hey everyone, it's Kirsten here, and I'm here to talk about what I read in February. So in total, I read 11 books in February. I read 2 contemporary, 4 thrillers, 1 dystopian, 3 fantasies, and 1 horror. So nice range of books there. And I read 4 5-star books, 3 4-star books, 3 3-star books, and 1 1-star book. So definitely a mixed bag all around. Then next, I finally picked up The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. There's something about Taylor Jenkins Reid that she just writes the most realistic characters in the world. The only other book I've read by her is Daisy Jones and the Six, which also really isn't my type of book, because that one talks about like rock stars and this one talks about like actresses and like people in Hollywood, and normally that's not like my typical vibe of what I like to read about. But the characters are so real in both of these books that you just feel for them, and they're all very like imperfect and real, and you just get to go through Evelyn Hugo's life, and it's about her and her 7 husbands, obviously, but it's also what it was like to be a woman and an actress in the 50s and going forward. Yeah, this book was a 5 out of 5 stars. I loved it. I would highly recommend it. Obviously, for a while there, this was like the book on Bookstagram, TikTok, all of that stuff, so yeah, definitely recommend it if you haven't yet, even if you don't think it'd be your type of vibe. It's so good. Her writing is so good. And then next, I decided to read Harry Potter, and this is not my first time reading Harry Potter. I've actually read this several times, but what I did this time is that I listened to the audiobook and through this illustration edition, which I haven't done yet, and it was so wonderful. Like, it was so cute. The illustrations in here are so good. Let me find one. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Here we go. Yeah, these are so good. And like listening to it while like looking at the illustrations, and there's so many, it just brings like a whole new like life to the story, and I loved it. And yeah, rated it 5 stars. I picked up A Flicker in the Dark. This is another thriller that I was super excited to read because this was like nominated for the Goodreads Book of the Year awards. It didn't win, but it was like in the final like 5 or 6. I don't remember what it was. So this was the only thriller that was on there. So I was so excited to get this, and I rated it 4 stars, but I did find it a little bit disappointing because I guessed one of the big twists like within the first, I don't know, 50 or 60 pages reading the book, which I loved it. So this is about this psychologist who, in the past, her father was convicted of murdering a bunch of women. You find this out very early on. It's not a spoiler. And it starts happening again like 20 years down the road. I don't remember exactly the time frame, but it starts happening again, and she's trying to figure out what is going on because she thinks it's related, but her dad's still in prison, so it couldn't be that. So you're just going through trying to figure out what's happening with her. And I love books based on a psychologist's perspective. I love everything about this, but I did find it super disappointing because I did kind of guess what was going to happen in the end. I did enjoy it, but because of that, I only rated it a 4 stars because I did guess it. It's good. I do recommend it. If you don't read a lot of thrillers, you definitely wouldn't guess the twist, but I do, so I did. Next, I read Never Lie by Frida McFadden, and this is another thriller. This is about a couple who is looking for a house to buy, and they go to this house in the middle of nowhere during a snowstorm to like look at it for like a showing purposes, and it turns out to be the house of this psychologist who went missing a couple years ago, and now the house is up for sale because she's assumed dead. And they're looking at it, and creepy things keep happening, and you're trying to figure out if the house is haunted or if something's weird going on. Once again, I do like the psychologist's point of view in a thriller, and you do get the point of view of the girl who's looking at the house and the psychologist. And yeah, I did not like this one. It is rated very highly on Goodreads, so my opinion's like very unpopular, but I think the twists were ridiculous. I don't think it made any sense. Like, I just did not enjoy the book at all, so I rated it 1 star. But honestly, I don't regret reading it because the concept was so interesting. So if it sounds something like you'd be interested in, I would recommend it because, like I said, my opinion was very unpopular. So, and I read A Court of Frost and Starlight by Sarah J. Maas. This is the novella you read after the 3rd book in the Court of Thorns and Roses series. This is just basically looking at how all the characters are doing after the war in the last book. So yeah, honestly, I don't really get the entirety of the point of this book. It's 233 pages, so it's almost the length of like a normal size novel. I mean, it's a little shorter, but not like most novellas I read are like 150 pages, so it is a little bit longer for that. And I feel like nothing substantial happens that like you needed to bridge the 3rd book to the 4th book. So honestly, if you don't like need to read it, I would just recommend skipping it. I only rated it 3 stars, and the books before this I all rated like 5 stars, so I don't really think you gain anything from reading it, but it is cute. So it is like a Christmas themed book, or like their version of Christmas, so it is cute. And I think if I read this like in December, I would have liked it a lot more. I read The Butterfly Garden by Dodge Hutchinson. This is a thriller about this girl who gets kidnapped, and she ends up in this like cult type situation where she's like in this like glass dome thing or garden thing with like a bunch of other girls, and this man has kidnapped them all through a long period of time and is keeping them there. And I wanted so much more from this book than I wanted. Like, the concept is so good. And you start to learn about this after like they already got set free, and like throughout the book you're trying to figure out how they got there, what was going on there, but also how they got free in the first place, because this has been going on for a long time. So for them to finally get free was obviously a good thing. So you get the perspective of the girl, and then you also get the perspective of the detective trying to like figure out what's going on. And like I said, the concept is great, but I just don't think the author, like, it didn't go where it wasn't like as much as I wanted it to be. It didn't get as deep as I wanted to be. It was very surface level. It had so much potential and it just didn't hit there for me, so I only rated it a 3-star. And after that, I picked up A Court of Silver and Flame by Sarah J. Maas, and this is definitely the longest book I've read so far this year. It is 757 pages. And this one is told by the point of Nesta and Cassian's view. So you do get a different perspective in this book. And it's just about how Nesta and Cassian are basically coping with everything that's been happening leading up to this point. And I do say I do like Nesta's point of view way more than I thought I would. I think this book is very long for what it is. Like, I feel like a lot didn't happen in the first like 500 pages of the book, and then so much happened in the last 200 pages of the book, so I wish the pacing was a little bit better. I did find like Nesta and Cassian's like little situation to be very, very cute and also very, very frustrating. Like I said, it took a long time to get rolling. And then learning more about Nesta, you start to like her a lot more than you generally do in the books before this. So yeah, I rated this one 4 stars, and like I said, I rated the first 3 5 stars, so this one was a little bit less for me, but I still loved it, and I did read a 750 page book in 2 days, so I obviously liked it. I just don't think it reached the height of the other 3 books. And lastly, I read Bird Box by Josh Malerman, which is a horror author that I was very excited to read. I haven't read any of his books by this point, and I did watch the movie a few years back, so I did know what the book was about, and it is pretty true to the movie if you've read it before. I honestly don't think one's better than the other. They're both very, very good. I don't remember exactly how the movie goes, so I don't know how close it is, but this book is so creepy. Like, it's one of the horror books that like made me think about it, like after I put the book down and I was like laying in bed at night. Like, it made me have like bad dreams. Something about there being these things that you can't look at is utterly terrifying. Like, it's creepier if when they describe in books like these horrible, hideous monsters. I don't know, there's just something about it, them being blind throughout a large portion of the book and not being able to see these creatures, and you never figure out what these creatures are because they don't know what they are because they can't look at them. You don't know if they're aliens, you don't know if they're like beasts, you literally don't know. So I did really enjoy it. I rated it 4 stars. It wasn't like perfect or anything, but I had a good time. So yeah, and that is everything I read in February. Let me know what you think I should read next. Like and subscribe if you wish, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.